3 vanilla isolate proteins that don't mess up my stomach, but which one is actually the best. Today, we're comparing the Dymatize ISO 100, the Pro JYM Ultra Premium Protein Blend, and the Isopure Zero Carb. We're gonna go over the macros, we're gonna do a mixability test in water, and a real-time taste test for all three. So a quick backstory. I can't handle regular whey protein. It just really upsets my stomach. And these three have worked really well for me because these are whey isolate based rather than regular whey, which can be a lot easier for some people to digest, especially if, like me, you happen to be lactose intolerant, or as Jerry Seinfeld said, I'm lactose intolerant, I don't like lactose, and I will not tolerate it. But obviously everybody's different, so this is just based on my own personal experience. By the way, I actually love all three of these, and I've been using all three of these for a long time, but my goal today is to discover which one of these is my absolute favorite and my main go-to and why. We're gonna take a look at the macros in all three different proteins, doing a side-by-side comparison, and then we're gonna do a mixability test using water, and I'm gonna use the exact same amount of water for each one and use 1 scoop of the powder. Then we're gonna do a taste test to see which one of these actually tastes the best, in my opinion. Now, we're only doing vanilla, so this is vanilla, and this is a Tahitian vanilla, which is really good. But all of these come in a variety of flavors. This one comes in a Fruity Pebbles flavor, which is really good. But for the comparison, I wanted to keep all the flavors pretty much the same so that the comparison would be fair. And then to sum things up, we're gonna talk about who would benefit the most from each type of protein. So let's start off with the macros. We're gonna cover the label stats for each one. Bear in mind that all of these are available in different sizes, so we're gonna judge this based off of 1 single scoop. Let's start with the Pro JYM. Now, this is the scoop that comes with it. That is a pretty decent sized scoop, and per scoop, you're going to get 140 calories, 24 grams of protein. Now, this isn't just a whey isolate. There are several different types of protein, which we'll talk about in just a moment. There are 4 grams of carbohydrates, 2.5 grams of fat, and only 1 gram of sugar. Now on to the Isopure Zero Carb, and this is the scooper that comes inside of the bag. With the creamy vanilla flavor, you're gonna get 110 calories, 25 grams of protein, 0 carbs, 0.5 grams of fat, and 0 sugar. This one, if you're trying to really lean down, might be the best option. And finally, Dymatize ISO 100 with 1 scoop. This is the scoop that comes with it. You're going to get 110 calories, 25 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fat, and 1 gram of sugar. While all three of these are very similar in the macros, the amount of protein, the amount of calories, if you're very strict on carbohydrates, the Isopure is the winner in that category. So if you're looking for the cleanest macro profile, this would be your winner. The Pro JYM is the highest in calories, but that is because it has a blend of different types of protein. So if you're looking for that, then it might be worth the extra few calories. The biggest difference between these two and the Pro JYM is its unique blend of several types of protein. Now, this is hard to find in any other protein powder that I've tried, but this actually combines whey protein isolate with other blends of slower digesting proteins. For example, this also has casein and milk protein isolate, as well as egg albumin. Now, the advantage of that is that those proteins digest slower. So these are considered fast digesting proteins, the whey isolate, but this also has that. So that's going to get into your bloodstream faster, while the casein and the milk and the egg are going to take longer to digest so that you have protein flowing through your body for a longer period throughout the day or while you're sleeping at night. I like to think the mix of proteins in here as being something that feeds your body a little bit longer than the fast versions. The ISO 100 uses a hydrolyzed whey protein, which is considered to be one of the faster digesting forms of a whey protein. And the Isopure uses a whey protein isolate while keeping its carbs down to 0. Now that we've covered the macros, let's do a mixability test. Now to do this, we're gonna use the exact same amount of water per 1 scoop, and we're gonna use the same mixture. This is my Voltrex electric mixer. You can see the little spinny thing in there. So we're gonna put 8 ounces of water, 1 scoop, turn this on, and then I'm gonna give you a close-up look of how it mixes and how well it breaks down. In order to make sure the test is fair, we're gonna keep everything exactly the same. So we're gonna use 12 ounces of water. I think 8 might not be enough to really give it a good test. This is about the amount of water that I normally use anyway. We're gonna use 1 scoop of protein and we're gonna mix all three of them using the same cup. For all the mixability tests, we're gonna score three things. So one is the mixability, how well it mixes. That's gonna be a score from 1 to 10. Then we're gonna measure how much foam does it produce, low, medium, or high. I don't like proteins that become very frothy. And then finally, we're gonna talk about the texture. Is it thin, is it medium, or is it thick? So let's start with our water. So there's 12 ounces. This is the Pro JYM. We will put in 1 scoop for our 24 grams of protein, and let's mix it up and see how it looks. I let that mix for a while, probably 30 seconds. So we're gonna try to keep it the same with all of the proteins. And that looks really nice. That is the Pro JYM Tahitian Vanilla Bean. And we're gonna pour it into a cup to see if there is any residue left over, because that'll give us an indication of how well it actually mixed. And there's the inside of our mixer, and you can see there's just a little bit of residue on the edges, but this Pro JYM mixes really smooth, really creamy, and yeah, it does a great job. I love that there's hardly any residue left behind, so you're getting almost all of the scoop that you put in there. There's no chunks in this at all, like 0 chunks. And to be fair, this thing is brand new. I generally tend to use this with a regular shaker cup, and I usually shake it about 10 times, and I get the same consistency as I get with this electric mixer. The Pro JYM Mixability score will be I want to say an 8 or 9 out of 10, because you can see it mixes really well, but of course there's a little bit of residue, not too much, so we'll give it an 8 out of 10. As far as foam, I would say the foam is low. There's not much foam to it at all. Maybe a tiny bit of foam on the top, but after that, it's very liquid. Texture for Pro JYM would be a medium. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's right in the perfect spot. Next up is the Isopure Mixability Test. We've got this rinsed out completely, a new 12 ounce of water. We're gonna add that in here, and we're going to add our single scoop. This is a much finer powder, especially than the Pro JYM, so let's see how easily this will mix. If you like this little electric mixer, I will put a link to this also in the description below. And let's open this up and take a close-up look at the ISO 100. Here is our ISO 100, and you can see that that mixes very well. Just a little bit of foam there at the top. That's because we just turned this thing off. So let's dump it into the glass so we can get a close-up look at how smooth it is. And we'll do a residue check. Not too much. You can see if you put some water in there, you could rinse that out almost instantly. So the Isopure, the mixability, I would say is a 10 out of 10. I mean, it mixes super well. There's hardly anything left inside of the cup. For foam, you can see once I dump this in here, there is about a ½ inch of foam right there. So for foam, I would say this is medium to high. And I'm gonna do a taste in a moment. I think that that foam will eventually go away. And I also don't think that it's too disturbing. I drink this protein all the time, and I don't remember the foam ever being a problem until I'm consciously thinking about it right now. And the texture, I would say that this is pretty thin. It's not thick at all. The Pro JYM is much thicker because it uses different types of protein. This is very thin, almost like water, which is why I tend to mix this protein with some type of a nut milk. Now for the Dymatize ISO 100 Mixability Test. We got a clean cup. We got 12 ounces of water, and we've got 1 scoop of the powder. I will say that if you happen to get one of these cups, I do recommend that before you turn it on, you give it a swirl. Kind of go like this, because what tends to happen is the protein can get stuck to the upper part of the cup and it won't mix because the blade's down here. So you want to do this to make sure everything's kind of moved around before you turn it on. Okay, let's see. Here's our Dymatize ISO 100. And there's our mix. And let's dump it into the cup. It's hard to tell just by looking in there. I mean, I do see a lot of foam right now, but let's see how it looks once we pour it into the glass. And there you go, close-up look. Our Dymatize Mixability score. Mixability out of 1 to 10, there's not much residue. I will give this an 8 out of 10. It does mix very well. There's not much left in there. That would rinse out in 2 seconds with some water. The foam on this, I would have to say this is high. This is the highest of the 3 proteins that we've tried. That is a full inch of foam there at the top. Texture-wise, I would say that that is a medium texture. It's not too watery, and it's also not too thick, so it's kind of the perfect amount. And now for the part that you actually care about, the taste test. So the first one I'm gonna taste is the Pro JYM Tahitian Vanilla Bean. I'm gonna take at least 2 sips of each kind, then I'm gonna rate it. First, we're gonna rate a scale from 1 to 10 on the vanilla taste. Then we're gonna do a sweetness test. It's either gonna be not sweet enough, the perfect amount, or too sweet. Then we're gonna go for aftertaste. There's either none, a little bit, or a lot. And then the final answer, would you be willing to drink this daily? And that is just a yes or a no. So here we go with the Pro JYM. I like that this doesn't have a lot of foam. There's a little tiny layer of foam at the top, but it's very easy to drink, very liquid. I also like that there's not a lot of grit. I mean, there's a little bit, but you're gonna have that with any protein. All right, so let's go through the scores. The first score is the vanilla flavor. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I will give Pro JYM's Tahitian Vanilla a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. This is like probably the best tasting protein that I've ever had, ever. All their flavors are great, but the vanilla it's amazing. 10 out of 10 for sure. Sweetness level for this, I would say it's perfect. It's not too sweet, and I definitely do not like too sweet, and it's definitely not sweet enough. It's that perfect amount, and you could even use this mixing it with ice cream or yogurt, and it doesn't make anything too sweet. It just adds that right amount. Is there an aftertaste with this? There is a little bit, but it just tastes good. It just tastes like you get a little aftertaste of Tahitian vanilla, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. And finally, would I drink Pro JYM daily? And the answer is absolutely yes, I already do. This is my absolute favorite protein as far as the taste goes. It's not only mine, but my wife's as well. This tastes incredible. Here's the taste test for the Isopure. All right, let's start with vanilla flavor. I'm gonna give this, on a scale from 1 to 10, the vanilla flavor for this is, I would say, a 7 or 8. It does have a nice vanilla flavor. It is good, but it's not like the Pro JYM that makes you, when you taste it, you're like, whoa, this is crazy good. This is just typical vanilla, so pretty good. 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. As far as the sweetness goes with the Isopure, I'm gonna say that it might be right in the middle, so it's not too sweet, but it's getting close to where it could be too sweet. But it's just right on that line, so I can still drink this no problem. If it was any sweeter, then for me, it would be too sweet. The aftertaste with this, there is almost none, and I think that's because it's so liquid. It's so almost like a water texture that it doesn't leave much residue, I guess, in your mouth to keep tasting it. So while you can taste a hint of vanilla, it's very, very mild. Would I drink this daily? And the answer is also yes. I do drink this daily when I'm traveling. I love that you can get it in a smaller bag like this and fit it into your luggage. So I do take this with me when I'm on the go, or I want my protein into my body very quickly. This is one of my go-tos. Dymatize Taste Test. Here we go. All right, so the vanilla flavor score on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm gonna give this a 6. It tastes, you can tell it's vanilla, but it doesn't light up my taste buds going, whoa, vanilla. It just tastes like standard vanilla. I'll give it a 6, maybe a 7. But saying that, you should also know that this company makes other flavors, and if you've never tried it, their Fruity Pebbles flavor is crazy good. Sweetness score, I would say, is medium. It's the perfect amount of sweetness for me. Aftertaste is very slight, nothing weird there. It just tastes like you had a sip of protein. And would I drink this daily? And the answer is yes, because I already do. So all 3 of these proteins that we reviewed today, I use all 3 of them regularly for different occasions. Quick digestion side note. These are the 3 proteins that personally don't upset my stomach the way that regular whey does. And if you're sensitive to proteins, you already know that it can be trial and error. So it's going to be different for everybody. So whichever one you choose, always make sure you read the ingredients and start with a smaller serving size to make sure that your body can handle it. So what's the final verdict and which one should you choose? Well, if you want the lowest carb and the simplest macro profile, then I would go with Isopure. If you want a classic whey isolate with super easy mixing, then go for the Dymatize. And if you want a blend of fast digesting and slow digesting proteins that'll give you more of a sustained feel, then I'd go with Pro JYM. What's the best tasting protein out of these as far as vanilla goes? This one, by far. This tastes so good. I still use all three. I love all three. This one is my favorite. I do use all of these, and if you want to pick up any of these proteins, there are links in the description, as well as a link for the electric shaker cup that we were using before. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe on the video, and I'll see you soon.